Welcome to Mastering Your Emotions course summary. I'm going to go through it as succinctly as I can for you to give you a good nugget of what we covered in the class. All right, ready? Mastering Your Emotions. I have all of my notes right here so I can make sure I can be real succinct for you. Again, and I say this often, you are a leader of love. And that's why this course is so important, because what gets in your way, or our way as women, in becoming the leaders of love that we are meant to be, is our emotions. Depression, sadness, anger, rage, fear, paralysis, all of these things. And if we can learn to move through these emotions and understand what's underneath them, then we can live more empowered as women. My subtitle of my book is Empower Yourself by Loving Your Body, and the subtitle is Reclaiming Your Body as Sacred. In Mastering Your Emotions, I say the subtitle is Reclaiming Your Emotions as Sacred. Those uncomfortable feelings, those uncomfortable emotions are sacred. Do not try to push them down, repress them. Learn the tools, and that's what this class is about, is learning the tools on how to hold them in your presence and with compassion and love. Now, high vibrational activities are what these uncomfortable feelings really need. Your uncomfortable emotions need spaciousness. They are a very contractive energy, so they need expansive energy. What that means is high vibrational energy around them in your body. What are high vibrational energies? What is high vibrational activities? Things like compassion, kindness, caring, equal mattering. Let's see, what else do I have? Presence, a neutral mind. A neutral mind without judgment is an open heart. Acceptance, love, nurturing. This is what your uncomfortable feelings actually need. Not that you shouldn't be feeling this way, that you're judging, why am I feeling this way? This is wrong for me to be thinking this way. They don't need that. They need your love and acceptance. And it starts with self-honoring, self-respect, thoughtfulness, self-compassion, self-love, self-nurturing. Notice the word self. And this is not meaning selfish. This is more gaining self-awareness in your body and in your emotional body. Honoring your body's emotions is a revolutionary, evolutionary act that has far-reaching effects. And your emotions are valuable, because the reason why is these uncomfortable emotions have extremely valuable information for you. But you won't be able to get the information from them unless you sit with these emotions and feel into them. Now, before we go into emotions, I wanted to mention, in the class we talked about the 3 different brains: the neocortex, the limbic, and the reptilian brain. So the reptilian brain is back here. This is your reactive brain. Your limbic is the layer on top of it, which is your emotional brain. And then you've got your, what is it called? You've got your neocortex, which is your higher brain. And it's not as if the one is better than the other. It's real. This is my kitty, by the way. She wanted to come and listen in. Gracie. It's about integrating all of these. This brain back here is reactive, this one is emotional, and this one is logical. So in emotional situations, instead of reacting, integrating that emotion with the reaction and the higher centers to move forward with more intention, greater awareness, greater self-compassion, and compassion for those that maybe you're upset with. So all parts of the brain are very important. I think of it as male brain, female brain, and animal brain, and honoring each aspect of what they bring to the table, basically, and integrating them so that we do have a reaction to, or we have an emotion, we have a reaction, but then we're able to bring in our higher centers and approach it from a more centered space, basically. In this module, we talked about receptivity versus reactivity. Receptivity is a feminine quality. Reactivity is just operating from your reactive brain, which is your reptilian brain, your primitive brain. the first layer of your brain. And we want to get beyond becoming or being animalistic or unconscious in our nature. Not that animals are unconscious, are loving companions. However, we have this spiritual component to us that's driving us to evolve our consciousness. And your emotions are the key to the evolution of your consciousness. That's why I said there's a gift, there's gold for you underneath these uncomfortable emotions. All right, let's get back. Receptivity versus reactivity. Receptivity is the feminine, developing more receptivity around these uncomfortable emotions instead of reaching and reactivity, masculine energy. I also talked about the different types of feelings. The different types of feelings are, and I categorize them. There are so many different types of feelings. I just categorize them to make it simpler for you to recognize how these different ones feel in your body. And this is what I use: is sad, mad, glad, fear, numb, and shame. Each one of these have different characteristics and how they feel in your body. For example, anger is a fiery energy, and it's can be very destructive. However, it can also be very motivating. Know that anger is always hiding, walling off a more vulnerable feeling, typically fear or sadness. Fear is a more prickly energy, anxiety, and sadness is a heavy, darker energy. Get to know these different types of feelings in your body and where they actually reside. Become familiar with them. The most beautiful thing you can do when you're feeling one of these uncomfortable feelings is give it your undivided attention. Stop being in your brain saying, I shouldn't be feeling this way, and take a moment and just feel the feeling. And I have a process that I went over in class also that I'll explain as well. So that's my next thing. 4 N's. And I'll go over it in a minute. It's the 4 N's. It's notice, name, nurture, and need. It's a process to deal with your uncomfortable emotions in a productive way, to uncover the unmet need so that you can be an advocate for that. We also talked about boundaries. Huge, huge subject. Creating and developing healthy boundaries. And then heart-centered communication. We touched on heart-centered communication, and in our communication module, to be heard and understood, we will be going into that in more detail. All right. Ways to cope with intense emotions. Remember this: food needs to be your friend, not a way for you to numb out. Sensuality is your savior. Breath is your buddy to bring expansion to those uncomfortable feelings. Movement, moving your body, getting the breath going by moving your body. This also supports those intense emotions. Sound, singing, chanting, privately screaming, possibly. Even just, sometimes I've had strong emotions in my body and it was such a deep, heavy energy. All I did was make a sound, and I'm going to just do it just to show you. Now you're going to think I'm crazy. I wanted to really show that to you. I'm making myself vulnerable here by showing that to you. It keeps you from going into victimhood, like, oh, woe is me, woe is me, that kind of thing. And you can cry and you can be sad. However, sometimes just getting that story, all this stuff that's in your brain, all the stories that you tell yourself, your perceptions and misperceptions, and negative attitudes and opinions about your situation, the people in your life, your expectations, your wishes and your hopes and dreams that aren't coming true. All of that, let go of it, because all it's going to do is make this uncomfortable feeling grow. So that sound that I just made, she really wants in on this. The sound that I just made is really beautiful because it's a deep sound, gets you down into your body, and will just allow, literally, this is an energy that needs to get out of the body, and you can allow it to go out on a note. Very unconventional, but it really does work. That's why Kundalini Yoga also, if you've not investigated Kundalini Yoga, and you can find that easily on the internet, is a very, very powerful way to raise your consciousness, to open your heart, to release armor out of your body. As a matter of fact, the spinal flex, spinal twist, the first morning breath that I teach in my coaching sessions with a lot of people, that is what will help to release armor as well. The breath of fire, spinal flex, spinal twist. And that's a Kundalini exercise. All right, the other thing we talked about is your belly is the seat of your emotions. And 90% of your organs are in your belly, and your organs hold different types of emotions. For example, the liver holds anger, but it can also hold love and gentleness and kindness. The kidneys hold fear, but they also can hold trust and calm. The spleen holds worry, but it can also hold centeredness and openness. All right. The Forend process: notice, name, nurture, and need. If you didn't learn anything else from this course, please remember: notice, name, nurture, and need. Noticing that you're having an uncomfortable feeling instead of reaching for a glass of wine or raging at your beloved. Notice, I'm doing this because I'm having an uncomfortable feeling. Oh, I just got a message on my video. Everything always interrupts when I'm doing videos. Notice, name, nurture, need. You need to stop the old pattern. That's how you notice. And then you go to name. Immediately, instead of raging, instead of having that second glass of wine, you name it. Now you're bringing all the energy. Instead of being outside yourself, you're bringing it into your body. Name that uncomfortable feeling. Is it sad, mad, glad, fear, numb, or shame? Now you're bringing your attention to your body. And then you feel it. Well, where is it in my body? Maybe it's a heavy heart. Maybe it's a feeling in my gut. Maybe I have a tightness in my throat. Wherever it is, then you nurture it. You put your hand on your heart. You can put your hand on your belly, wherever that heavy feeling is. And you give it that spaciousness, like I talked about earlier. And you're just with it. Don't be in story. Start to feel into the feeling. Think of what color it is, what shape it is, what texture it is. Breathe into it. Take the story in your head and move it out. You can even make that sound that I made earlier. Nurture it. Hold it like a baby. Breathe into it. All it is repressed energy, repressed emotions in your body, and it needs the light of your consciousness. Once you're there and you're giving it your undivided attention, then you ask yourself a very important question. And the question is the fourth N, which is, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need? What do I really need in this confusing, conflicting, confronting situation? And it's a core need. Remember, we talked about core needs. So it's a core need. It's not, I need them to stop doing that. It's a core need. I need gentleness. I need to be heard and understood. I need kindness. I need cleanliness. I need space. I need sleep. I need to calm down.